Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to our special 2021 New Year's Prediction Show. You are listening to 12radio, and I'm your host, C.A. Brooks, host of Simple Tales and A Course in Miracles here on 12radio. And, of course, our hosts and shows will be back live the week of January 4th. But meanwhile, on this January 1st of 2021, we have comments, suggestions, affirmations, and predictions for you going into 2021. When we kind of put out the message and the advisors on 12 Listen and various people said, hey, I want to participate, we ended up with enough people participating that we've actually got 3 hours. So what you're listening to now is the first hour. And during this hour, we are going to hear from Caroline Nettle from across the pond. She's one of our British advisors. And also Mark Hesson is here with me today. Now, we're going to talk just for a couple of minutes, introducing what we're doing today. And then at the end of the show, or actually the last 40 minutes or so, we're going to talk astrology. Because it wouldn't be a prediction show without astrology. So, Mark, are you with me today?
I am. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. It's so good to hear your voice.
Hey, it's good to hear yours too, CA. Gosh, I feel like it's been 100 years of 2020, and I just can't wait to be able to look into the future with you. It's so nice that you're including me in the prediction show. I know that we've done them in the past, and because just life has taken over, and I'm so glad that you're letting me be a part of this with you, because I want to look the future, see what's going on.
You're so kind to say, thank you for including you. Are you kidding? You are the heart. You are the heart and soul of all of the 12 sites, including 12radio. I mean, we would not be here today without you. So I feel like I need to say thank you for including me and a number of other people and giving us this. Well, giving us this platform to connect with and talk to, various people. It's a lifeline for me, really.
For all of us, and I do appreciate that. And it definitely, it takes a village, right, to make things happen. And your efforts, I'm just really grateful for, because I know you work hard and you worked hard on this, and it's fun to kind of walk in and see that it's laid out, and you've used fully the resources available. So I just appreciate that as well. And I'm definitely, and I was going to ask, if we pay a little more, can your predictions be swayed? I mean, is anybody bribable? Do we know? I want good news.
I don't know about that. Most of us are starting out with some kind of wrap-up or summary of 2020. I don't think it's that we're afraid to get into 2021, but we recognize that it's not as simple as just stepping over a line, turning a calendar page and saying, okay, 2020 is over.
No, we're carrying our baggage into it. We have to carry everything into it. You're right. And it is psychologically wonderful to know that it's moving on. But you're right. I mean, we still have to wake up the next day. If we didn't mark it as a particular day, life still goes on, and it's up to us to sort of bring the brightness to it. So yeah, I agree. It definitely is. It's psychologically wonderful. I have a lot of good hopes for next year, but the truth is, starting on January 1st, there's not a whole lot of difference between December 31st and January 1st right away. I think it'll change over time, but we still got to wake up. One time when I moved to Denver on my move, I said, I just want to move and see someplace different, and just, I'll be a different person. And my friend said, no matter where you go, you still have to wake up and make your coffee and go to work.
Right, right.
No matter what year it is, you still have to do what you do. So at least we are looking at it. And I think I'm so glad. I do feel that we're looking at it through a sort of optimistic point of view, because I think we do feel more optimistic. I think there is a sense of the change in the world is optimistic, is hopeful, and at least that's what I feel. So I'm gonna carry that through, and people can pay me more to talk nice too. It's fine. Send anybody wants the good predictions, just send the predictions over to 12radio.
Yes.
Send your donations to 12radio, and we'll brighten them up for you. No, I won't. I'll just tell the truth. I promise.
Well, and you know what you're bringing up is, I keep thinking, in fact, I said to my sister, I said, I'm still searching for my mantra for 2021 because I usually have a mantra and I want to say, so what? Or let's not take it so seriously, or let's remember our sense of humor. Like I said, I haven't quite settled on it yet. When I do, I'll let people know. But I was thinking the other day I saw a commercial on TV that at first I thought, okay, what is this? And I'm pretty sure it was a commercial for Match.com. Which is a dating site. Yes.
Yeah.
And Satan meets, this charming girl, and he says, hey,
he
you're
calls her 2020, and she goes, oh, call me 2020.
I know. I went, oh my God, that is so funny. So
Very
you know
creative.
what?
Yeah.
That's it. No matter what is going on in life, it's really worth our while to just take a step back and not take it so seriously. Now, I know there are serious situations going on, but still, we can find our sense of humor. So I'm anxious, though. I know that, we've got limited time here, Mark, because we've got so many people participating today. In fact, I just want to give a thanks to everybody who is participating, which includes Caroline Nettle, Erica Longden, Mo Abdelbaki, Anita Ahuja, Katie Weaver, and Jay Varvel. I mean, all these people, have clamored to be part of this show today, and I'm so thankful. And by the way, if you didn't hear one of your favorite advisors or radio hosts, don't worry. We've got all of January for them to be broadcasting their predictions, talking about their suggestions for 2021. We had to save some of it, for the regular radio shows.
That's right.
Yeah,
Gotta keep you guys hungry.
That's right. So don't despair if you didn't hear one of your favorite people. But are you ready to just get going and listen to what Caroline says? Okay, now, Caroline is from across the pond. She is one of our British hosts. And she is a healer and an angel intuitive. But being a healer is one of her big deals. So let's listen to see what Caroline Nettle is going to tell us about 2021.
Hello, my name is Caroline, and I'm an advisor on 12Listen, and I'm delighted to bring you my prediction for 2021. And I will be using the same cards I used for my wellness scopes for continuity, which I hope have given you inspiration towards action over this year, and wishing you the best festive season possible. And the way I've done it is pull 3 cards for each block of 3 months throughout the year, and here is my prediction. So the first months of 2021 are January, February and March, and I have pulled Angel of Soul Love, time to look at how you value yourself, issues of self-love. Angel of Manifestation, your efforts, determination and perseverance have paid off. And Goddess of Sacred Power, you are being encouraged to take a leading role in your current situation. And I really feel that the Angel of Manifestation is looking to some efforts that you made in 2020 that have paid off, that are really coming to fruition now. So the effort that you made in 2020 is really going to show fruit this year in 2021. The Angel of Soul Love is saying, really, truly, January is very much a time of going within. It's a very exciting time politically out there, but in your heart and in your mind, this is a time, I think, to be looking at valuing yourself, learning to love yourself, learning to cherish yourself, learning to nourish yourself. All the things that I talk about all the time in my sessions, really learning how to champion yourself so that you can be the best possible version of yourself that you are able to present to the world. And the Goddess of Sacred Power, you are being encouraged to take a leading role in your current situation, really does emphasize that really it's time to let go of what we don't want anymore. Leave it behind in 2020. Really only take into 2021 what you're proud of, what makes you joyful, all the things that really would benefit you in the new world that we're all creating together. How do you want to live and what would you like to create going forward? And the Goddess of Sacred Power is saying, and what is it that you've committed to do? You and everybody else on the planet has a role to play in this new world that we're bringing into creation. So really stepping into those roles that we know we've chosen before we came here or have become apparent as we are living our lives. So the first 3 months of 2021 really seemed to be consolidating what we did in 2020, but also valuing ourselves and learning to be our own champions so that we can really step into the role of being ourselves within the creation of the new world. One of the things that's definitely coming up for all of us in this next year, and at this time I'm being told by the angels, is very much, how do I love and appreciate myself? How do I value myself? And what I'm feeling with the card that is time to look at how you value yourself, issues of self-worth, we are all being asked to really look at what it is we're carrying from our history, from our ancestors, whatever it is we've agreed to take on, and process it through and leave it behind, because there is no room for this when we go into the world that we are all trying to create, full of love and harmony. So right on schedule in January, February and March, you're being asked to look at your stuff, and of course get your friends and family to help you if you don't know what your stuff is. But really with a view to leaving it behind because you've processed through it. And once you have processed through it, we always get a change of perception, because we no longer see ourselves as a victim. We're very much more a powerful being in our own right, which is what the third card I read suggests, that once you've been able to, work through and try and leave behind some of these issues, you are then being asked to encouraged to take a leading role in your current situation, whatever that may be. For some people, that may be standing up and fighting the establishment. For other people, it may be stepping up and being a better parent. For other people, again, it may be, writing your message in the form of a book or something. So I'm really feeling that the first 3 months are, yes, what you've been working towards is coming into fruition, and at the same time what you're being asked to do is really process through some of those old energies that you're carrying, so that you are able to stand up and say, I'm ready to play my part. Okay, I love that for January, February, March. So the cards I pulled for April, May and June are God of Reflections. The qualities you see in others are simply your own reflection. Angel of Abundance, this one's always popular. A steady flow of abundance is about to manifest. And then God of Conflict Resolution. You are being encouraged to walk away from a current conflict. So what I feel for April, May and June is that you will be consolidating on the work that you did in January, February and March, around really processing through all that old history and those old energies and any unprocessed trauma that you really don't want to take with you into the future. You'll start seeing in others the qualities you want to acknowledge in yourself. So a really good exercise is just to think of 3 people you really admire. Write down what it is you admire about them: honesty, justice, strength, truth, whatever it is. And anything that you write down on that piece of paper is actually the qualities that you have. And then your job, of course, is to start owning them and living them. So the Angel of Abundance, a steady flow of abundance is about to manifest. I'm being told that that's not necessarily money. Abundance can take many forms. It can be love, it can be creativity. But I feel that the months of April, May and June are going to be very bright around your creativity and around your ability to put into action that which you've been dreaming of or that which you've been thinking about. So it feels quite a big shift in the energy from January, February, March. Obviously, some of your plans have come to fruition, but I really feel that for the 3 months, April to June, there's a real push in the creative and also abundance of money, love, joy. So it just seems like a really good time to practice the art of receiving. And then God of Conflict Resolution. You are being encouraged to walk away from a current conflict. To me, this is furthering what we did in January through March. This is about, do your friendships and the people that you surround yourself now match the vibration that you're vibrating at? So are there some people in your life, and the angels have been telling me this for, 3, 4, 5 years now, there will come a time as you work on yourself and proven people that you thought that you needed in your life will just sort of fade away. And I really feel for you, this will be a time of that happening. So it feels as though those people that no longer support and cherish and really help you to be the best version of you that is possible are going to just somehow fade away into the ethers. So this will be a time of, in inverted commas, losing the people you thought you cherished. But I think as you see them fading away, you'll realize that they probably weren't the people that were good for you. And this means that you can attract into your life those people that can now really champion you, cherish you, inspire you, and push you towards a greater version of you. So that's April to June. So July, August and September is an interesting collection of cards, and it really suggests a time of taking some time out, enjoying that wonderful time of year where the gardens are really in full swing and fruit and vegetable are coming in, the flowers are beautiful. So we have Angel of Pleasure, take pleasure in the things that you do. Angel of Relaxation, let go of desired outcomes and you will get what you want. And Goddess of the Earth, an idea connected to imagination, creativity, and nature is coming your way. So this really does feel like a message from the angel to kick back and allow everything to happen as it is, taking no part in, judgment or criticism or what's going on in the outside world. This is about you really being present, being in the moment, taking pleasure in the things that you do. There's so much colour and joy in that card, and it just feels as though this is a time to celebrate you and really to enjoy everything that is already in your life. And I feel great colour, real sensuality, and lots of nice food and relaxation. And then we move to the Angel of Relaxation, who's basically saying, let go of desired outcomes and you will get what you want. And I feel that this is about control. And she's just saying, sometimes it is best to just allow the universe to bring what you want. So we did see in January, February, and March that things were coming to fruition from last year's work. And I feel that it's really important to tell the universe what you want very precisely and then allow it to come to you, because it feels as though any controlling behavior around what you want will possibly prevent it from being brought your way. Yeah, it does feel a very abundant time for you, especially to do with nature. And this, of course, is her time for giving us all of her wondrous, wondrous gifts. And I feel that you're being asked to maybe look at nature a little bit and see how she just seems to get everything done. And there's always a chaotic order around her. And I feel really strongly that despite our human desire to control everything, if you just ask for what you want, and then I see you sort of kicking back in a hayfield or in a meadow or something and just enjoying the sunshine. So that's the kind of energy for those 3 months, really relaxed and enjoying the simple things and really reconnecting with nature. And then Goddess of the Earth, an idea connected to imagination, creativity, and nature is coming your way. And I think the more you are able to kick back, get out of the concrete and the Wi-Fi and all of that, and just go find you some trees or a lake or a mountain or something and just sit and listen to Mother Nature. I'm really getting a strong impetus that you are going to be gifted with some inspiration relating to looking after this wonderful planet that we've been gifted on and is our home. And I just feel so the months of July, August and September are going to be very much of a reverting back to nature and really appreciating all that Mother Nature gives us. So I'm going to leave that there, and then we'll go on to October, November and December. So Great cards for the end of the year. Angel of Finances, honor and give thanks for the blessings that you are about to receive. Angel of Healing, the angels have felt your sadness and have shown up today to send you healing. And Goddess of Psychic Protection, what you believe you create, no one can harm you. I love this for rounding out the year. So it does feel a very much more abundant year than possibly 2020 has been, because you've had two finance cards which show great abundance. And you're being encouraged here to thank the universe for everything that is coming your way, all the blessings. Now, this really follows on from taking some time out in July, August and September. It feels as though this then 3 months, October, November and December, is moving into the point where you're putting into action that inspiration that you received from the earth. I love that. And then Angel of Healing. The angels have felt your sadness and have shown up today to send you healing. Okay, interestingly, this card makes me feel that by sort of like October, November, December of next year, we will be looking back over these last 2-3 years with a deep sense of sadness. I'm feeling that this is collective. I don't think it's individual. And I feel as though it's very much around letting go of the old. So truly letting go of the old. Almost grief. In fact, it is grief for what we used to know and who we used to be. So that feels as though that's coming in towards Christmas next year. And you'll have a lot of angelic help to help you with that sadness. So that does feel very collective to me. And then Goddess of Psychic Protection, what you believe you create, no one can harm you. And I really feel, to finish off the year, this is a very positive note, which basically explains to you, the stronger your belief is, the more you are likely to succeed. And this really feels that this is ending the year on a very positive note, because you've processed through lots of things, you left lots of things behind, and now going into 2022, this is about what do you want to create. And I love that card. No one can harm you. So you're able to proceed forward knowing that you're going to be safe. I really love that card to end the reading. So I appreciate that this is a reading for personal growth and looking at what needs healing and how to find your inspiration. I know there's a lot going on the planet which is not covered, and I just feel that the angels are saying perhaps we need to stop focusing outside at what's going on, especially when it's so baffling and confusing, and focus on our own journey and what we were put here to do. I do believe that we are all here because we all chose to be here at this really important time. So whatever we can do to make our part successful in this huge transition that we're in, whichever way you look at it, there is massive change coming. So I just want to encourage you to really, whichever way you can, become the best version of yourself, so that we can all collectively create something really splendid that we all want to share going in 2022 and beyond. So I really hope this is helpful. I send you lots of love. Happy New Year to you all, and look forward to working with you in 2021.
Oh, Carolyn, thank you so much for everything that you just did. That was wonderful.
Caroline, that was fun. I love that.
And now, Mark, you know what's going to happen. It's got to be me and you talking astrology. We're up next.
Oh, why do we have to follow that act? All right, whatever. All right. Well, I got to do what I do. You're right. Thank you. So
yes. Good. What are you seeing for 2021? When you look at the astrology or whatever other tools you use, I know that's your favorite one, what are you seeing for 2021? What's your big deal?
Well, I love the idea that we're going into Aquarius in general. I do feel like that reminds me, if I was ever going to feel like I was coming out of a Capricornian cycle of heaviness and authoritarianism and, oh my gosh, all the parts that I am so grateful for that Saturn brings us, which is sort of like illuminating the boundaries. I would not want anything but Aquarius to come and say, hey, want some freedom? Want to change some things up? And that's what I feel with Jupiter moving into Aquarius, Saturn's moving into Aquarius. These two players are big in my world. As you know, you always mention it to me. When I do a reading, I look to Jupiter. I want to know where the hope is and where the hope lies. And with it in Aquarius, I think Jupiter sings a little brighter song. I think, he has a chance to expand the viewpoint, let us include more humanitarian issues. Saturn, of course, shows us where the wounds of humanity are when it goes into Aquarius. But I do think Jupiter gives us an opportunity to change the momentum and change the trajectory, as they say, so that we can now conquer things in a more global, unified way. Like Aquarius is about, we are all one. I mean, we always talk about Aquarians love humanity and hate humans, but the truth is the global humanity, this global world thing, the idea of coming back to the idea that we are all caretakers of this planet and we are all caretakers of each other, and that Jupiter is going to help us sing that song. It's going to, I think, lighten us up. So I do think it's going to be a year of miracles. I think it's going to be a year of breakthroughs. I think it's going to be a year of refreshment. And so, can I leave now? Because that's pretty much it for me.
Well,
I just gave you what I got.
In truth, Mark, yeah, if you want to leave, you could do that. But I think you have a whole lot more to say. And I'm with you. I think no matter where the other planets are, it's hard not to see Aquarius and Aquarian energy, and even Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, as being the prominent players in 2021, because this is a shift from what we've had for the last few years with all those planets in Capricorn. How can you not jump on the Aquarius bandwagon?
That's exactly right. How can you not jump on the Aquarius bandwagon? And that'll be fun to uncover as we look a little deeper into the year ahead, because I do think it's when you're holding tight to a like when you're riding a bike and you're squeezing the handlebars really tight because you're scared, you're white knuckling anything. I feel like for 4 years I've been white knuckling 2020.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was close call that I wanted to punch something, an inanimate object, just because I would be so like, oh my God, with that little clenched fist. So now when you release it, when you finally get a chance to let go, when your body can go, okay, wait a minute, I think I might feel safe here in this moment, and you kind of drop in and you release your hands, it can be painful at first as blood rushes into the parts that have been held back. So I always think that not that it has to be a kind of pain involved in this, but I do notice that when we start to relax and we start to move in toward our life, that's when we can see how we've really been feeling and how we've really been coping. And that's when some people get sick and some people finally get how exhausted they are, or finally get how angry they are. And you can finally stop and like move that energy, because there's more than one emotion happening. It's not protect yourself, run and hide. It's like, oh my God, I realize I've been carrying all this, and I can turn the freaking news off and I can breathe again. And when that happens, I do think there's fallout. It's a great fallout, but there is fallout because we don't know where we've been. We don't know what's been going on. So I do think a lot of that's going to be in the collective.
Yes. And as I think about the Aquarian energy, it just reminds me of so many of the principles of A Course in Miracles, and I'm excited about that for this year. So, for instance, if somebody said, what is Aquarius about? I'd say it's about shared interests.
Yeah.
It is about oneness, but if taking it down to, to the letter, it's about shared interests. It's about understanding and seeing everyone as the same. Bottom line, our struggles are all the same. On the surface, they look different, but our struggles are the same. There's nobody out there who is just feeling safe and secure and happy. We're always struggling because we always believe that we're in danger of that going away. And so somehow, just like you said, like opening your hand and just kind of relaxing into, can we make this a year where we focus on creating win-win situations where when we get that thought, and, here's another concept from the Course is unkindness is a decision. And it's a decision that we make every single moment. It's a continual decision. The past is the past. We're making that decision. And when we're willing to really look at, like being unkind, being angry, it's not that we need to change it automatically. We may not be able to. But Aquarius, if you look at Prometheus and that whole mythology, he put himself in service to the greater good. He put, he risked his own personal safety. He risked everything for the idea of serving mankind, stealing fire, which brings us to all the Aquarian energy too, or the Aquarian mythology of, I really want to be an individual. I want to have my freedom, but I want to belong to a group. I want to be accepted. I want to be approved of by people. So, but how do I find myself on that continuum? Am I really happy being totally free and individual? Because then I'm not with anybody. I have no connection. And Aquarius is an air sign. It loves to connect and network.
Yep, absolutely. And I do think that, you've nailed it. I mean, it's sort of like what I hear from what you're saying is there is no perfect pill. There's nothing that's going to, there's nothing. There's always going to be disappointments in our lives. There's always going to be things. It's not the perfect life. It's not our real reality. And I do love the Course for giving me that information because it lets me put my hope where it belongs with me and with my inner connection. But the truth is that I think once we understand that and accept that, we can also use it as a comparison of what we just came out of. In my opinion, it helps me understand how I want to make different choices. And I made some choices. If I hadn't gone through 2020 and the 4 years prior fully like just the way I did, I wouldn't have made the choice. I made some distinct choices about happiness that I think I wouldn't have made had I not gone through that. So everything serves that point
purpose
that you're making. Yeah, perfectly. And so I do like the idea that there's not a pill here to take that's going to cure everything, but there is some appreciation and gratitude that we can also offer 2020 and the 4 years prior to really recognize that we took a lot of things for granted in life. And I think that that's true, a great metaphor for life, period. We take a lot of things for granted, especially when we're given opportunities of forgiveness, of kindness, and it's like those moments when you really need someone to reach out to you and care for you. That matters, and you can feel it when you're in need, and they do. And that's what I think we're heading toward, this new recognition that we are one world, and as opposed to just one country. We're one world, and I love that, and I think that's going to help overall. But yeah, like you say, it's the Saturnian view. It's not, there's more to work on here.
Oh yeah, there's a whole lot to work on. And, kind of going back to the astrology too, personally, I'm a fan of Capricorn. I love the structure. I love the organization. But one thing that we get stuck on in life, I think, is thinking that things are permanent. And they're not. I mean, I wish they were. I keep using the example of my deck. I have a 20-year-old deck on my house, and finally, I just had to come to terms with, wood doesn't last forever. You've got to do something about this. There are holes. It's starting to break down, and it's becoming unsafe. And so I finally just bit the bullet and had the whole thing, had it repaired and a lot of the boards replaced and all of that kind of stuff. And I just think in life so often I just wish, why can't I just do this once and it's done? But you know what? That's not what life is about. And so I think if anything, Pluto and Jupiter and Saturn and Capricorn this past year have pointed out some of the weaknesses in our foundations. And when we built something 20 years ago or 250 years ago or whatever it was, it's time to kind of look at it. It's time to renovate. It's time to look at cracks in the foundations. They served us. They had a purpose, but they don't continue to serve us in the future. And if we just think that we're going to repair something or try to fix it up, we're usually going to be disappointed. And I think that's kind of the move into Aquarius from Capricorn is saying, you know what? Bless those foundations. Bless what we had, but recognize they may not serve us in the future. And be willing to take a risk and follow Prometheus into what is the future? What does it look like if we're willing to do things a little bit differently?
Yeah. Amen. And that's hard. That's the one thing about being in a fixed sign energy. Not everybody wants to let go. I mean, it's so funny. I remember learning that all grief, all loss, even if it's the loss of an abusive relationship, even if it's the loss of a limb, the loss of a bad habit, quitting smoking, all loss, it ties itself to grief, because it's just you're letting go of something. And I think when you're in the sign of Aquarius, it's a fixed sign, and I think fixed signs have a really hard time in general letting go. But I do think accepting change and accepting a different way of doing things, seeing if you have been addicted to, like I have been addicted to the bad news TV, and I realized that. I mean, it's like, God, there's a life outside of this. And it's hard to change those things, but boy, once you're willing to accept that there might be another way, it might be a better way, there might be, that my way isn't the only way, you do open up to some big changes, and I think that's going to be a big message for the year as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that brings up the Aquarian idea too, that, and here again, it does come from A Course in Miracles, but I think we've got to really look at our attachment to being right. Because as you well know, you and I have had so many fights about Aquarian moons. I'm an Aquarian moon, and I'm right, Mark. I mean, why don't you just admit it? You know, so, I mean, I may fight about it, but I so hear what you're saying. Aquarius is a fixed sign, and it's visionary. So when it gets an idea in its head, when it has a vision of something, it's like there is no other way. And that is a very difficult thing to recognize and to go with Aquarius. I think we are going to have a lot of stubborn visionaries who do not want to compromise. And we're going to have to deal with that energy. You know, and is it possible that I'm wrong? Is it possible that I don't know all the answers? And so for us, as we go through this Aquarian time, I think if we can consciously focus on that, releasing judgment, somehow getting it into our heads that, you know what, maybe we're not right. Or maybe there is another way to see it. Or maybe there's a bigger and more expansive picture that we haven't seen yet. And it's difficult. And I'll tell you, it's going to be difficult for me because, truthfully, that Saturn and Jupiter are going to sit all over my moon and my north node. And I'm going to be on a mission, Mark.
Yes,
You're probably going to have to go CA, you know, Earth to CA.
No, I honestly like it. I mean, I definitely appreciate the Aquarian alternative way of thinking. And, you know, that's why I'm so curious if your sense of Aquarius, now that I know you lean into Saturn a little bit, but do you see, what kind of change do you think it's going to nudge the culture on a whole to be? Because it would be neat to see that perspective. Like, do you feel like it's going to nudge us in a different direction, or what do you think the impact is going to be in general with the Aquarian energy within Saturn doing to us? Have you thought about it?
Yes, I have, but I will admit I'm thinking of it mostly in conjunction with Jupiter, because that there again, that's a combination that I've always really liked for manifestation, because I feel like Jupiter has the enthusiasm, the energy, the willing to push outwards. But I think Jupiter's kind of lazy. You know, well, you know, Jupiter's like, hey, make me lucky, let me win the lotto. And so Jupiter comes up with all these great ideas and, you know, promises a lot. But if it doesn't have the structure to do something, if it doesn't have the discipline of Saturn, I think that's what I always look for in natal charts, or I just look for in transits. Saturn comes along and gives us the discipline to make Jupiter dreams come true. So I think 2021 will be a year of manifestation, both personally and for, you know, communities and things. I think we're going to see a lot of manifestation, but I also think Saturn in Aquarius can also be a little rough. In terms of, like I said, I think we need to pay attention to the shadow side of that. And part of the shadow of Saturn is being that taskmaster. Nothing's ever good enough. Or Just kicking us in the butt all the time, judgmentalness, always having this view of what it should be and never being willing to back off of that, not having any humility. And the other interesting thing is that, and I wanted to ask you about this, because Uranus, this is an interesting dynamic, because Uranus rules Aquarius, but it's sitting in another fixed sign, Taurus. We are going to have squares, conflicts between Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius and Uranus. And so that's a lot of what I would consider stuck but volatile energy of trying to push the future forward, but in some very radical and revolutionary ways, which sometimes that's what it takes. But see, that's what we also have going on in 2021 is those three planets, conflicting with each other. And interestingly enough, January itself will be interesting because remember, Mars has been in Aries for 6 months. And
right.
Now finally in January, just a few days from now, I can't remember, is it the 4th or the 6th, Mars is going to move into Taurus. So then it too will square Saturn and square Jupiter. So it could be that we will have some tumultuous, we're not sure where, to me it's almost like an earthquake. And we're not sure how things are going to settle out. They will, but we're not sure. But January might be a real omen for some other energy in 2021 because of Mars. What do you think? That's my opinion, but what do you think?
I try to think about what the message is. If you have these two conflicting energies, you have Taurus, you have Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius in Taurus, and it's trying to uproot certain kind of physical conditions in the world in general. And I do think that has to do with earthquakes, the weather patterns. It's going to be big. But then when you have the other two, Jupiter in Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius, part of me thinks that in a square you have a choice that needs to be made, and it's a choice between doing things in our lives that are in preparation for change. Like, in other words, in a square, to make a square work, you have to do one or the other. You cannot do both. You cannot have, uproot your home and then sit back and wait for the lottery to win. You can't, you gotta, wait for things to be logical in a sense. So I do think, in general, what we could potentially see here and the way we need to take care of ourselves is to allow a certain kind of keep in touch with. Don't just make a decision and do it, and God, if hell or high water, you're going to do it. And that's the curse of Aquarius, in my opinion. I think the idea would be here is to have your goal set and watch the world around you, but also keep those feelings in touch. Like Mars is in Taurus is really going to beg us to feel what's going on, to know what's going on in our bodies, in our hearts. And so you got these conflicting things. So one, take a minute, feel what's going on in your life. This year, when you're going to make a decision, this is to the world, my personal opinion, you're going to make a decision. The magic of making a decision, and when you're confronted with a choice, is to let that decision be in your physical being, and ride it for a few days. See if that decision still has the strength it had when you first made the conviction for it. See, if it's a big purchase, pretend you bought it. It's in your house. You're still, doing what you're doing, and does it weaken? Does it change? Then if everything just stays solid, boom. Go to your Jupiter. Go to your Saturn. Take the leap. Now, Saturn in Aquarius to me says we're going to be sensitive to making too radical of changes. If we give up responsibility too quickly, if we give up our sense of duty and kindness or whatever, if we are responsible for somebody's well-being and we just walk away from that because we're free, well, that probably isn't going to feel so good. So it's kind of like, okay, yeah, the shackles have been removed. Saturn is now saying, look, keep doing what you were doing without the chains for a while, but let it grow, let it evolve. Saturn's saying, keep the things consistent. Saturn doesn't like all that quick change, I don't think. And so Jupiter's saying on the end of that is, we're going to present you with bunches of opportunities. Stay grounded. stay in touch with what your body really wants you to do, and don't let your mind trick you into that just because you move to another city that you don't have to get up and work and make your coffee. You got to remember that no matter where you go, no matter what happens, where there's changes, it's just sometimes nice to know that opportunities and choices are around you. You don't have to make them. You don't have to take them. You can stay right where you are and know that there's a celebration in doing that, and the right time will push you. You can't stop the change from happening. So I'm just like, the caution to me is with Mars and Uranus squaring those. Again, just to summarize, the caution is don't just leap because you can. Leap when it's time. Feel like as circulation comes back to your life, as your vision comes back to your life, as your dreams come back to your life. Don't just sell your house because you can. Don't just leap into buy that new car because you can. Take a minute and make sure that everything is in order for you to do it, and trust that the winds will blow right when it's time. Jupiter's not going to abandon us. And then what happens is Jupiter goes into Pisces, which we could metaphorically say we've prepared our way for our dreams to happen.
Yes.
And it's like, so some beautiful stuff to look forward to, but we have some training to do. We have some lessons to learn. And I think it's to buckle up and once you're free, feel your body, feel the circulation. Don't change too much too fast. That's Saturn's message. It's here in Aquarius. Don't change it too fast or you'll get Saturn's message, which is like, ouch.
Right.
That's my thought.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's an excellent point, because the one thing about Aquarius, it's air, it's communication. I want to network, I want to socialize, I want to talk, but it's not in its body. It is not grounded. And that, I think, is one of the most important messages for this year. If nothing else, stay in your body. Eat, sleep, relax. Pay attention to what your body is doing, because that's going to be a real challenge. I think that's a really important message for everybody this year. Stay in your body. As an example, Aquarius rules the lower legs and the ankles. And I'm not saying that I think we're going to see a lot of injuries that way, but I think one of the things you find if you start tripping and falling and that kind of thing is that maybe you're not in your body. And already I have a family member who broke their ankle a few weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
So, in fact, I thought that was interesting. I thought you didn't even wait for Saturn and Jupiter to move into Aquarius.
Wow.
So it's
early.
like,
I know.
Keep your feet underneath you,
Yeah, no, that's a great metaphor. And I know a lot of people are, they may not relate because it's sort of like they don't think like that, because I don't tend to think like that either. Like, just be grounded. But if you have the message early, you guys, if everybody listening to this has the message early, change is coming. It's going to be wonderful. You don't have to run. The gate opens. You can walk. You can pace yourself. You can be okay. It's like you don't have to just, drop everything. Stay the pace. And I think that's the message of Saturn and Jupiter. Opportunities abound, and you have some responsible way to get them, to go for them. And if you follow Saturn's lead here, because Saturn to me is the most powerful planet between the two, believe it or not, if you follow Saturn's lead here, what we get is an opportunity to really reap some true, serious reward. Because I think Jupiter, it plans some big surprises for everyone this year. And especially if you're an air sign, especially if you're an Aquarian, if you have an Aquarius moon, if you have an Aquarius rising, or air of any of those, because these planets are going to trine that stuff. Now, what's going to happen with the earth and water signs, in my opinion, is they're going to see true movement. Like, I know so many Tauruses that finally uprooted. My sister's one of them who finally uprooted after years of just immobility because of that Taurian ground in. So many of you Tauruses are going to feel the urge to change with that Mars push, and that is going to be a good thing. That's the change that I'm like, yeah, don't wait for the gates to open, just start. Because you all got, right? And so I do think Tauruses are going to have an extraordinary experience this year because of the new Mars and Taurus energy connecting to Uranus. All the other Earth signs, Virgos, Capricorns, you guys have had enough, but I do think now you're going to get a chance to reorganize. It's like Uranus is going to help you guys reorganize into now that you've been uprooted, because a lot of Capricorns, a lot of the earth signs have definitely felt uprooted. I think now they get a chance to settle a little bit down. Water signs, you guys, we're going to have, I do think the compatibility of water is the opposite of air. And so it's not easy for you to get into this like concept of there's an opportunity, let me just leap for it, or let me think outside my normal box. So I think there is going to be a challenge for the water signs this year to be particularly what's the word, because Jupiter's ready to present them a gift in the second half of the year. But I think the water signs this year is to find out where your boundaries are. Even start thinking, like, how far have I extended into somebody else's world and somebody else's business? And so, like, what am I doing with my life? Do I have a guidance? Am I just floating? Am I free flowing? This would be a great chance for all the water signs to sort of reassemble what their boundaries are. Find your Saturns. Find out, where am I really? And what are the goals that I've set for myself? It's great to question when there's a lot of air around you, because you don't do that very well. You don't do it very easily. And that's just my thought. And then on fire signs, I think you're going to definitely take some leaps and bounds here. There's so many things that, in my opinion, that air is going to fuel you. Just being in the compatible element of air is going to excite the heck out of you guys. So I think the fire signs, moon risings, that's Leo, that's Sag, that's Aries. You guys are definitely ready to take some extraordinary magic in your life. And I really think that you guys are going to be, believe it or not, the unsung heroes of the 2021. I don't know why I'm putting it out there, but I do think that they are going to be the surprise components. It's going to be the Aries, the Sages, the Leos, and anybody that has wherever that is in your chart. That is where the magic is going to happen. That's just a prediction from me. That's one of my straight up predictions.
Oh, great.
Right out of nowhere. But no, I do feel it. I do think that wherever fire is in our house, if you want to know what your course of direction is going to go, look at your fire houses that are ruled by fire. Like where is Sag in your chart, that kind of thing. And those are going to be the grand changes that are going to come, and I think we're going to be pretty excited. So
that sounds great.
To be excited about it. I know it's that hopeful thing.
Yes. Well, and touching upon one more thing, and here again, it's later in the year, so we can go there later. But the other thing that's hopeful for both the earth signs and the water signs is that Neptune is in Pisces, a water sign, and Pluto is still in Capricorn. And the truth is, they are getting closer and closer in terms of making that sextile. So, yes. There's going to be magic. When you use the word magic, I think there really is going to be between Neptune and Pluto, especially towards the end of the year. And
my gosh, yeah.
So once again, don't lose hope, because though that's going to be a very profound, maybe spiritual creativity, it's going to be an incredible energy with Pluto, which is going to be literally magic, because once again, it's the power of that earth energy, power of discipline going with creativity. And if we look to the very end of this year in December, Venus is going to be in Capricorn, and she is going to retrograde. So the retrograde is mostly going to be in 2022, but she's hanging out with Pluto at the end of the year. So as we get there again, for the water and the earth signs, I think they're really going to like that Venus retrograde.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I also think that the summary that I think is the overview that we've been talking about here, to put it in a nutshell, is you don't have to worry about things changing. You don't have to worry about your opportunity coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. You don't have to put your eye on it. You don't have to look for it. You can take your time. Let your circulation come back to you. It is coming, and it's coming for every single sign this year gets to have that incredible surge of magic and of things shifting in a way that they didn't think they would. Now that's the key word for anything Aquarian is surprise. Like the minute you try to predict a Uranian event,
yeah.
That's why I don't like to predict Uranus events, because Uranus goes Oh, is that what you think?
Yeah, right.
That's good. Tell me more what you think, because I'm gonna make sure you don't get it. So I'm gonna make sure you're surprised. And if you think you're not gonna get it, then you might get it, and then it just messes you up all around. So try not to predict Uranian things in our lives. So the goal is, though, when you look at the charts overall, every single sign is going to have this incredible shift, an opportunity to shift, and it's going to be brought to you. So don't just kick off the new year telling everybody that it was from your 2020. See ya. Stay present. Stay one foot in front of the other. It's going to change. No matter how much mud you think you're in, no matter how much sewage you think you're in, it's going to change. And I know that's true about all life, but I'm telling you it's going to change this year. I'm not saying like in time. This will be I remember the first time I ever heard from a movie, I think it was The Terminator. They said, think about it this way, in 20 years, who gives a shit? It's like, oh my God. And I'm like, that's what it feels like. That I'm not saying to you. What I'm saying to you now is this will change, and it will be a vague memory. And so you all don't have to do anything. This is a year, there's a reason there's a year of hope here. There's a sense of hope in the air.
Yes.
It's extraordinary. Now, I do think we're going to have some weather issues. I do think we're going to see some earthquake shit. And I do think there's going to be some earth changes. But I also think what we're doing is going after them. We're going to start, and that's going to be the other hope. I think there's going to be incredible technological leaps. I think we're going to go to the hydrogen batteries. I think we're going to shift in a way that is going to be monumental. And that's kind of opportunities for everybody. So I'm very hopeful about 2021. But I wasn't as hopeful until I started talking to you. So.
Well, thank you. I don't know if I deserve that. But yeah, I think Aquarius is the sign of hope. And when you think about, once again, the mythology of Prometheus, he stole fire from the gods to make humankind make leaps and bounds in their discoveries and in their knowledge and in their ability to master the universe. And so this is an exciting time. It is a time of hope.
Yeah, he got punished for it too. So and the reason I say that is because that's how extraordinarily important it was for Prometheus to break through and bring that gift, because it cost him an incredible amount of pain, and that's why I think when in the Aquarian times, when that change starts to happen on some subconscious level, we're all like, well, and so it is, though, the point is Prometheus loved mankind enough and believed in humankind enough to say, I will risk everything to give you guys this, because it's not right what's happening. So there is that humanitarian equality, the equitability, the fairness that gets to return, and the reason that he was punished, I think, and how that shows up in the metaphor in the current time period is the people who do the review, the people who will be reviewing that, who once said Black Lives Don't Matter, or who once said that, those people are going to be doing the actual painful review of their life, of where they stood. It's kind of like there's going to be a lot of people looking at where they were on which side of history when we get past this point, and next year's a big one for those kind of reviews. So yeah, choose good, people. That's good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and I know that we need to wrap up this hour mark because we got a lot of other people waiting in the wings.
Yes, we do.
But, kind of on that same note, if you're saying he was punished, that's a big Aquarian issue, is when will you hold to your vision of what you think needs to happen and risk the disapproval of other people?
That's exactly right. Hard for Aquarians. It's a big issue in Aquarius.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes that's what it's going to be. We're going to have to voice unpopular opinions, or maybe be the channel of information. Maybe we're not even going to believe it ourselves, but maybe we need to be the channel of information and say, where do we come down on this issue of the vision versus personal approval? Am I just going to do something because Mark Husson is going to pat me on the back and say, good girl?
Yeah, and why that's so big right now is Saturn. Saturn is the one that's saying, like, if Saturn wasn't here, this wouldn't be as big of an issue. But you know how Aquarians love looking different and being different, and they're ridiculed for that, but a part of them loves it. The Saturn part is saying, well, being different to be different now isn't so satisfying. Being different, it's like, but holding that different cause in your mind that is true, that is going to get rewarded. And it may not feel fun in the moment, but it'll get rewarded for all of us.
Yes.
I have a prediction, one more.
Okay, one more. Go for it.
These people are going to love what's up and coming for them.
Yes.
The future predictions that you're about to play, our listeners are going to love. That's my prediction.
Absolutely. We got some wonderful people coming up.
Thank you very much. It was fun. I feel very stimulated and excited about our 2021. So I can't wait to hear what other people think that you wrapped up to bring their predictions here, because I want to see if they're on board with it.
We've got 2 more hours of predictions on this January 1st, 2021. So thanks for listening to us on 12 Radio, and don't go anywhere. We will be right back. And in our next hour, we have Erica Longden, Mo Abdulbaki, and Anita Ahuja weighing in the wings. Woohoo!
Can't wait.
We'll be right back, everybody.